Key one, Stoic Marcus Aurelius once said that ambition is tying your well-being to the opinions and actions of others, but true sanity comes from anchoring it to your own actions. The key to happiness, he believes, is wanting things to unfold as they naturally will, accepting that very little is actually needed for a fulfilling life. That contentment is already within us. Often, when people think of Stoicism, they picture it as a rigid, joyless philosophy devoid of emotion. This couldn't be further from a truth. Stoicism doesn't deny happiness. It simply refines it, focusing on removing the destructive emotions that cloud our peace, such as envy, fear, greed, aggression, and unbridled ambition. Ryan Holiday, a modern advocate for Stoic thought, notes that happiness, in the Stoic sense, isn't about exuberance or excitement. It's about flourishing as a human being, achieving a sense of inner peace and purpose. Aristotle referred to happiness as eudaimonia, or human flourishing, which aligns perfectly with Stoicism. Happiness, according to Stoics, is not found in fleeting pleasures, but in the cultivation of inner harmony and virtue. In today's world, we often find ourselves focused on external forces we cannot control, worrying about the future, fearing what others think, hoping for circumstances to align in our favor. This constant state of anxiety only robs us of our peace. The Stoic path to happiness is clear. Separate the things you can control from those you cannot. As Epictetus wisely said, the key to happiness is to stop worrying about things beyond our control. When you shift your focus from external chaos to what you can influence, your thoughts, actions, and reactions, you gain a sense of control and, ultimately, happiness. In practical terms, it means deciding to be in a good mood, regardless of what happens around you. When you accept that you have the power over your thoughts, you find strength and happiness not through external circumstances, but through mastering your internal responses. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that the fruit of a meaningful life is good character and meaningful actions, acting for the common good. True happiness comes not just from self-improvement, but from making a positive impact on others. Stoicism teaches us that if we want more tranquility and happiness, we must do less. Saying no more often and eliminating distractions and non-essential from our lives allows us to focus on the truly important things. By doing fewer things, but doing them better, we unlock a double benefit: more peace and greater satisfaction in our actions. This mindset is counterintuitive to the way many of us live today, where we constantly chase after more things, more success, more validation. But Stoicism teaches us that the key to wealth, both internally and externally, is wanting less. As Seneca pointed out, poverty isn't defined by a lack of material wealth, but by an insatiable desire for more. By cultivating contentment and learning to need less, we can enrich our lives and find true happiness. Key 1. Stoic, when we find ourselves yearning for more in life, it's crucial to recognize that this desire doesn't always stem from a lack of resources or opportunities. Even those with immense wealth can feel poor, but not because of their bank balances. It's because of their insatiable desire for more. These individuals often fall into the trap of constant comparison, believing that happiness is just one more acquisition away, whether that be money, success, or recognition. But this mindset keeps them trapped in an endless cycle of craving, where the future becomes their focus, and they miss out on the fulfillment that could be found right in the present moment. True happiness, however, comes from a shift in perspective. Instead of perpetually chasing the next big thing, we can cultivate gratitude for what we already have. It's easy to overlook the blessings in our lives, but as Mark C. points out, if we lost everything today, we would grieve. Yet, if someone returned it to us, we would feel immense gratitude. The key lies in appreciating what we have right now, in recognizing the wealth that exists, in simply living a life of gratitude. This ties perfectly into the Stoic principle that true wealth isn't about accumulating possessions. It's about learning to desire less. Wanting less doesn't mean giving up ambition. It means gaining mastery over our desires. You can't always control how much you accumulate, but you do have control over what you desire. And this, my friends, is where freedom lies. When we free ourselves from the need for external approval or material success, we can define what it means to live a truly successful life on our own terms. The Stoics urged us not to let our happiness hinge on the opinions of others. In fact, ambition becomes toxic when we base our self-worth on what others think of us. As Marcus C. wisely says, true peace comes from aligning your sense of worth with your actions, not someone else's judgments. When you know you're doing meaningful work, when you're confident that your efforts matter, that's the real measure of success. It's about cultivating an internal compass that guides you, rather than waiting for the outside world to validate you. Of course, life is never without challenges. The Stoics were keenly aware that adversity is inevitable. The future is certain in one regard: things will go wrong. We will face setbacks, obstacles, and difficulties. The question is not whether this will happen, but how we will respond to it. Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot control what happens to us, we can prepare ourselves for what's coming. According to Epictetus, the goal of philosophy is to reach a point where, no matter what happens, we can confidently say, "This is what I trained for." Through mental, physical, and spiritual challenges, we build the resilience needed to face life's inevitable struggles. And here's a quirky story from Stoic history that perfectly captures this idea. There's a tale of a Stoic named Sippus who, in an absurd twist, supposedly died from laughing. While it might sound like a strange tale, it's actually a great example of how life's most intense moments can be unexpectedly punctuated by humor. Sippus was sitting on his porch when a donkey wandered into his garden, munching on his plants. A passerby rushed to chase the donkey away, and in a moment of quirky humor, Sippus asked if the donkey would like some wine to wash down the figs. He laughed so hard at his own joke that he reportedly died from the sheer force of his laughter. While the truth behind the story may be uncertain, it captures something deeply human: the ability to laugh in the face of life's absurdity. This story also highlights the cathartic power of laughter in the midst of life's chaos. Have you ever found yourself crying, only to suddenly burst into laughter at something completely ridiculous? It's that strange, almost magical release that comes when you realize how absurd the situation is. Life can feel like it's falling apart, but in those moments of absurdity, the human spirit shines through, proving that sometimes all you can do is laugh at the madness around you. In the end, the message is clear. Don't let your happiness be dictated by what you think you need. Focus on the present moment, control your desires, and find joy in what you already have. Life will inevitably throw challenges your way, but it's not about avoiding adversity. It's about how you respond to it. If you can cultivate gratitude, control your desires, and laugh at life's absurdities, you'll discover a deeper sense of peace and resilience. It's about learning to thrive no matter what life throws at you. Key 1. Stoic, have you ever felt overwhelmed by the weight of life's unexpected blows? Picture this. Someone loses a loved one, someone they cherish, and in that very moment, they find themselves choking on something as simple as a glass of wine. It seems almost poetic, doesn't it? The culmination of all their pain hitting at once, the breaking point, like the final straw that shatters the camel's back. It's a tragic reminder of how life can surprise us in the most unsettling ways, but also how we choose to respond in these moments defines us. In times of despair, one of the most powerful tools we have is laughter. It's that unexpected burst of humor when everything feels like it's falling apart. The Stoic philosopher Seneca understood this well. He famously said that life is, at its core, filled with suffering, but you have a choice. You can either cry about it or laugh at it. The cruel beauty of life is in its contrast. Joy exists alongside sorrow. Hope dances with hardship. Rather than trying to force life into the shape we want, the Stoics suggest a more liberating approach. Desire things to unfold the way they will, and you will find more peace. This idea is echoed across many philosophies, especially in Eastern traditions. The Buddhists call it the concept of willful will, the tension that arises from our desires and expectations. When we demand life to be a certain way, we set ourselves up for disappointment. The Stoics teach that true happiness comes from aligning yourself with nature, accepting things as they are rather than trying to mold them into what you wish them to be. The more we resist life's natural course, the more we suffer. This doesn't mean passivity or resignation, though. It's about simplifying. As Marcus Aurelius once advised, ask yourself, is this essential? Most of what we strive for isn't. We chase after things that don't matter, fill our days with tasks that don't bring us joy, and get caught in the noise of society's demands. But life doesn't have to be that complicated. The pandemic provided an unexpected opportunity to witness this firsthand. When the world slowed down in 2020, many of us found ourselves rediscovering the simple joys we had overlooked. Time with loved ones, quiet moments in nature. These became sources of true happiness. In my own life, my family and I found wild blackberries growing in our backyard, and we began watching sunsets we'd never taken time to notice before. Those simple acts of presence, of just being, brought a sense of peace and contentment I hadn't realized was missing. If you're seeking more happiness in your life, begin by removing the unnecessary. The Stoics believe that true contentment comes from focusing on what's essential and letting go of the rest. Life is already simple. It's the clutter we create that complicates things. Simplify your life, and you'll get closer to your true self. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that everything we need to find happiness is already within us. True unhappiness, he suggests, comes not from the hardships we face, but from never having faced them at all. Adversity is what allows us to grow, to prove ourselves, and to practice virtue. When things don't go as planned, rather than lamenting the outcome, see it as an opportunity, a chance to practice excellence, a chance to prove to yourself that you can rise above. Over the years, I've come to embrace this mindset. When obstacles arise, I take them as a chance to improve. Sure, I'd love for things to go according to plan, but the growth happens in the struggle. It's the practice that matters, the opportunity to better myself with every challenge. In the end, those moments of adversity often bring more happiness than the moments of ease. It's this kind of thinking that led me to create the Daily Stoic nearly 8 years ago. What started as a small idea to send a daily reflection to a few people grew into a community of over 1 million Stoics, a vast network that continues to grow and evolve every day. It's been a humbling journey, and I invite you to join us. You can sign up for the daily emails completely free of charge. No spam, no strings attached. Simply a group of people committed to living with intention, embracing life's challenges, and finding wisdom in the everyday. If you're ready to be part of something greater, I'd love for you to join us.